Welcome back. Is Russia ready to make a deal? That is the question. Ukraine wants peace. The U.S. trying to make that happen, but it all falls on Russian President Vladimir Putin. Will he make that deal? New this morning, U.S. Special Envoy for Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, says peace could be at the hands of Ukraine. Now, is it all hype? Or will Putin now finally get to the table? I want to talk more about this with Ivana Stradner. She is the Russian Program Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and Dan Rice, who is the Special Advisor to the Commander-in-Chief, Ukraine Armed Forces, and the President of the American University, Kyiv. Great to have you both here. Dan, I'll start with you. Are we any closer to making a deal here? And is Putin going to take it?
Hi, Rob. Yeah, I think that the dialogue is very important, and I'm glad that it is ongoing. General Kellogg has done a great job in bringing to light many of the issues that are so apparent in a negotiation. I do not.
No, I mean Washington D.C.
I do not think.
Sorry,
Putin
go on
wants
there, Dan.
peace
I'm not sure what happened
Sure,
there.
no
Go ahead.
problem. No problem. I do not think Putin wants peace right now. I think all evidence to the contrary. But the important thing is the U.S. has him to the negotiating table. So as the sanctions continue to take effect and as the Ukrainian attacks on the Russian energy sector continue to pummel and destroy Russian energy, these are going to bring Putin to the table, hopefully. But I think we need to continue to give Ukraine more and more arms, more and more long-range weapons to keep him at the table and eventually get him to agree to the terms. Ukraine will not agree to many of his terms, which are they're ridiculous terms. They're his political goals before the war, which he failed to achieve through military means, that he wants to achieve now through negotiations. Zero chance of that. Zero chance. We will not give up Ukrainian territory. Ukraine will not give up Ukrainian territory that has not been attained by Russia. That's a non-starter. So many of the things he's asking for, he failed to achieve militarily, and he won't achieve through negotiations.
Ivana, what do you think will move the needle here for Putin? What's going to do it, and where he ultimately, well, one, call a ceasefire, and two, maybe sign a deal where there is peace?
Actually, Russian politicians, they already claim, that this deal is far from being solved. As a matter of fact, we have to understand that Putin will struggle a lot in 2026 when it comes to economic situation back home. So he understands, that he needs to buy more time. And the only thing that Putin understands is the language of power. And as we just heard, there are two things that we need to do. Number one, of course, to provide Ukraine with weapons. And the second thing, not to leave sanctions right now, something that some analysts and politicians believe that will be the right approach to bring Putin back to the negotiation table. As a matter of fact, Putin is not willing to negotiate in good faith. He believes that he has time and the will to continue and to blackmail the West, whether with the United States to spread typical propaganda, we need to work on economics, who cares about Ukraine, or when it comes to Europe, he has been waging something that the Russian military calls a new generation of warfare, because you have drone incursion, you have cutting sea cables, all those nefarious things that are happening. So whoever believes that Putin is going to comply with any of those agreements anytime soon is sorely mistaken. If history is any indication, we know how Russia has been complying with those agreements for the past 3 decades, and Ukraine knows this better than anyone else. And my last point is, we have to understand that the United States should not care about Ukraine only because of Ukraine. I get that part. But what we need to understand is how Russia and China are working together. Pay attention to the Arctic. That's the place where Russia and China are cooperating together. And whoever believes that they can divorce Russia from China, this is not going to work, because they're frenemies. They have different goals, and they might be also enemies, but they have a mutual enemy, which is the United States, which made them a friend when it comes to trying to undermine Washington.
Very good point. Dan, back over to you. It's a good point that China and Russia are going to be, they've been frenemies, as she just pointed out. Is that going to be something, we know that President Trump is going to meet with Xi in the new year. Do you think that that'll come up? Is that something that maybe will be negotiated over?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the Ukraine war is the primary topic on the front of President Trump's agenda. And I think that it will come up with President Xi in China. And as Ivana said, they are frenemies. They are working together. I believe they worked together prior to the invasion and actually delayed the invasion to after the Beijing Olympics. That's how close they are. So North Korea is supplying 50% of the weapons going into Russia to fight the Ukraine war. That could not happen without the support of China. China is working closely with North Korea. They're also working with Iran. So what President Trump has decoupled Iran from Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. And so we are effectively decoupling the axis of evil, which is 4 state actors: Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, and 3 non-state actors: Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. And we've decoupled 4 of them. Now we're working on. We will never completely decouple Russia from Iran, but we can separate them and at least get China to stop supporting Russia as much as they do. At the same time, we need to support Ukraine to put long-range fires deep into Russia, make Russia feel the pain. That is the only way to stop this war. Putin does not understand anything but force. So continue to support Ukraine and give long-range weapons, including Barracudas from Anduril and including Tomahawks from Raytheon. And that will end the war if we begin to destroy the Russian energy and the Russian military targets within Russia. It's the only way to stop it. They fired 60,000 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and Shaheeds into Ukraine. Ukraine has been pummeled by these weapons. We need to give them parity, give them something to fire back with offensive weapons. That's the way we win this war, Rob.
All right. We'll wait to see what happens next. We appreciate it. Ivana Stradner, Dan Rice, always a pleasure. Great having you both here.